What is going on, everybody? And in this video, we are giving you a state of the markets and stock picks for February 2nd, 2022. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, daily updates and weekly updates to prepare you for the next day, the next week, for earnings, for Fed, whatever the case should be, remember to subscribe. So the SPX, it traded flat today, which in my mind was extremely bullish because we are essentially sitting close to that 20 EMA on the weekly. And the fact that the 20 EMA on the daily, we sat just below that. And I was actually expecting a really hard rejection. And initially out the gate, we had a pretty tough rejection coming out. But then we just wicked back up and we held strong. And in my mind, that there couldn't be a more bullish sign. Last week, the market got wrecked because of the fact that Powell came out and talked about rate raises. And then on Thursday, a bunch of Fed members were talking about 7 rate raises this year. And then come on Friday, Bullard came out and said maybe 3. Bullard actually came out today and said there's no way they could do 7 because that would just destroy the market. So today, it's just been a circus ultimately with the Fed and rate raises. Bullard came out today. Again, though Bullard is very dovish in a lot of his approaches, but he's saying that there's no way that we can do 7 because it would absolutely destroy the market. Powell is in that same boat. Again, like it's something I've talked about. He is looking for Q1 and inflation to determine if it's transitory, because if it's transitory, that it should die down and there should be no reason to rush into raising rates. That is what Powell's looking at. That's what I believe Powell sees. And I think he stopped using the word transitory because people were essentially chewing him up for using that word. But we have to see how it plays out. Nonetheless, the market was looking very bullish when it held here today. Then Google had earnings and absolutely just crushed it out of the park today. It also had a 20-to-1 split announcement. So this thing went absolutely parabolic. Again, not sure when that split will be. But again, this is what I think the market was waiting for. If we could get at least to Google and AMD to do well, along with Tesla, Microsoft, and Apple, the market is solid at this point. I don't expect Amazon to actually do very well, but I believe that's why they're also reporting towards the end of the week. Because of that fact, I think we got Facebook tomorrow. I think Facebook might even be iffy because they're kind of rebranding everything for the Meta, and they had a bad earnings last quarter. So just being said, I think those two might not do as well tomorrow. We're definitely going to have to see, but I think the market was waiting on these two because at least that would provide a good chunk of the weight in the index going into tomorrow, Wednesday. I think tomorrow is going to be a huge day. AMD also crushed it. Their year over year was absolutely ridiculous. If I can actually pull up AMD here. AMD actually crushed it as well. So it's really good to see this. The chip space is going to explode tomorrow. In my opinion, I actually took a swing with NVIDIA. So that is one of my watches tomorrow. But the market, as far as the state of the market, I think we're really solid in the fact that the 12% correction that we've had on the index was trying to encompass a 5-point rate raise. Now, Bullard came out today and said we'll be lucky if we get a 1/4 point at, I'm not sure exactly the time frame, but I believe he was aiming more towards the later half of the year. If that is the case, they've already corrected a 0.5%, a 5-point rate raise, right? So being said, they overshot on this correction. So if that's the case, that's going to make us extremely bullish. And then we're getting good earnings on top of stuff with some of the bigger tech. Yes, not everybody's going to do well, Obviously, not everybody's going to make it through a pandemic. The smaller companies are going to really suffer, but your leaders are going to really do extremely well, and we're seeing that. And also, these these bigger companies are starting to buy these smaller companies because of that fact. So, being said, the market tomorrow, I think, will be extremely bullish. We are looking for a gap up. We definitely want to get over this 20 EMA weekly, so the 45.63 tomorrow. I'm expecting us to gap over that. We'll have to see. There's a lot of good news with the earnings, so we're going to have to see how this does play out. PayPal did have earnings, and they got crushed today. So we'll have to see with that. But with the big move in Google, Amazon and Facebook actually took off as well after hours. So that, I think, is going to help gap us up. When you gap up, looking for a pullback on that weekly at 45.63, I think that will be your confirmation dip. If we hold that tomorrow, I think we should be good going into later on this month. We do have Powell, but he's talking with Congress. I believe around the 15th is the same around when the Beige Book will come out as well. I think that will introduce some volatility. I don't think it's going to crash the market unless Powell says something, which I don't believe he will. I think he'll stick to his guns. He'll hold off waiting to the meeting before anything is like in details discussed. Kind of noticed that with him in talking to the Senate. He doesn't give too much detail. He tries to wait to the meetings to do that. But I mean, anything is possible, but we got some time. So I do believe this is going to be a strong rally for the next couple days. Again, take it day by day because we don't know what's really going on with the Fed. Again, Bullard is very dovish in his approach. So he is very conservative on rate raises. So being said, we may get more than what he's saying, although I still have always believed that we're only going to get 2 rate raises this year. But I think there'll be more towards the back half of this year. We're going to have to see, I think, like Powell after the first quarter, he's going to push it off to the second quarter. He's going to do it by every quarter is how he's going to judge it, in my opinion, and go from there. So if this next quarter, it doesn't look good, he'll push it off to the next quarter and then take it from there. So I think that's his approach, and I think it's the mentality people have been trying to pick up. So Bitcoin looking strong so far. Again, holding. I think this is going to actually break out. Bitcoin typically likes to move during the weekend, so I'm looking for this to actually make a push this weekend. If the market does break out tomorrow, which I do believe it will do, I'll look for this to make its move on the weekend. So if we have a bullish run in the market, again, I think that momentum will carry into Bitcoin going into the weekend. So my big plays tomorrow, obviously, Tesla could be a big play. It does need a gap, in my opinion. Again, you're sitting on the monthly, the 20 here. It needs to get above this 941 mark tomorrow, and then you got a lot of different. You got the 20 and the 50 on the daily, plus the monthly you're trying to get over. If we do a big gap tomorrow, that would be extremely positive on my mind. Like I said, that puts us back over that. A 20 in the monthly on the index. If that's the case, look for that pullback, and then that's your confirmation into going forward. Again, I think a lot of risk is off the table now. Yes, there are going to be rate raises, but again, we've priced in 5 points in, and now we're hearing that's not the case. Again, it could be, it could not be, but if that is not the case, again, we're going to be very bullish. You're not going to want to miss the run. So I think you still need to manage risk, but I think tomorrow will be our confirmation on everything. So I like Tesla. I think there's more upside to some of these other ones. Google is going to be absolutely absurd. I don't know if you're going to want to play this. Obviously, the premium is going to be so juiced on this, but there'll be the push of the split. So that might be something to watch if you can get some cheap out of the money calls, right? Just because of the split, you might get split momentum pushing up. I have to see, but definitely one you want to keep an eye on. Be careful. This thing can also pull back really bad, and then you're going to get premium burn really bad on this thing. So just realize that. Even if you went off of Fibonacci levels tomorrow, that 28, 70, 80, or you can even look at 28.43 mark. Looking for a pullback in that area, at least to 50%. You definitely want to be careful of this parabolic move. I don't know if it's going to be able to stick or not tomorrow. It is definitely giving the market a lot of momentum. I think this will start really pushing the market up. But I think your better moves will come in ones that have been lagging. Again, like your chips. Like I said, Facebook is another big one. If it can hold this, it broke above all these levels. You want Facebook to hold above 325 tomorrow. If it does, that could be a strong. You want to retest to this zone here. If it does retest on that, you're back over the 200 on the daily. So that's a good sign. Microsoft, I think, is much like Apple. I think people are going to start picking up some of these other stocks that have been lagging behind. NVIDIA did awesome. AMD did great. So NVIDIA had a massive pop here. Want this over 263 tomorrow. If it is holding, that's your 20. Look for the retest there. Then you got a pivot up to essentially that 276 mark. You do have a zone here at 270 as well, but watch that for tomorrow. If the whole market starts gaining momentum, again, NVIDIA has earnings right down the road too. So it actually has earnings on the 16th. So that's something to watch. ASML is another one. You want it to hold essentially here tomorrow. This 681 mark tomorrow. Again, you got a clean pivot up to 703 tomorrow. Unless we gap, you get the 50, which you're really trying to watch out for. The 50 weekly EMA, you want to get over that, and that's sitting at 707. So you want to watch out for that one. Then Amazon, the big one on Amazon filled this gap. You really want this to get over this 30.98 mark tomorrow. If we can get over that, I think we can get a pretty clean shot to 31.83. But if it breaks that, I think you got a clean shot to almost 3,300. Amazon could be in play. Again, they have earnings on Thursday, and I don't think they're going to do great on earnings. So you definitely want to be mindful of that. Again, not financial advice, but I don't think e-commerce will do very well. But we'll have to see if that's true or not. Shop is a little different, I think, in some aspects. It is lagging behind. It is almost about ready to break this 1,000 mark. So that mental mark, if it does break that 1,000 and hold that, that'd be a strong level to hold tomorrow. But you do have the strong resistance at 1031. So it did retest today and then popped up a little bit. So depending on the gap, again, you got the 20 monthly sitting at the 1127 mark. You're going to want to watch out for that. Again, once we start getting back up to these levels, there's going to be a lot of resistance we got to break through. Some of this stuff was sitting right at resistance when we had this push. That's what I did really like. So this push from AMD and push from Google could possibly gap us over a lot of this junk, a lot of this resistance, and get us back on track. But we have to see how that plays out. Roblox is another one that could start making a trip back. I think this one you probably want to wait a little bit more. But we want it back over 70. If we can hold back over 70, hold this top range, I think that could be a good, strong possibility to make your way up. Again, you got up to 82.55. So you got that move you could possibly get to before you get a solid rejection. You do have some speed bumps along the way at 75.20. But I think if you can break and retest that level, tight stop, I think that one should be good to go as well. Airbnb is another one. This one's already been moving a lot and very fast. It always seems to do that. We do have a lot of resistance here, but if you can get over that, the 161 mark tomorrow could potentially start heading back up. I think if the market gains momentum, we could start hitting all-time highs again. But you want to definitely be careful. We could get a hard rejection off of here. So you definitely want to get above that you get 162. If we do gap at 162 tomorrow, watch that level. If we do retest hard there on the daily, that'd be good for an entry there and start riding this back up to all-time highs. It's one I definitely want to keep on watch. UPST is another big one. It is starting to turn here, which I do really like. There's a pretty hard ceiling at 125, but if you could break that 125, you get a pretty clean shot up to 142, something you want to keep on watch. level here at 108 is good to hold to as well. Looking for a dip, possibly there, but we definitely want to break here again at the 125, and then it's a pretty clean shot. Again, I think this company is really good. It does have earnings next week, so you could start getting earnings run. Something I really want to watch next week and see how they do. But that is essentially it. Tomorrow, that's pretty much what I got. I think your biggest ones are to watch chips, watch Google. Google, again, the premiums are going to be extremely high tomorrow, so you're going to want to watch out for that. I don't know if anybody's going to want to mess with the premiums on Google tomorrow, but AMD is definitely one you're going to want to watch. Watch the continuation of that as well. And then we got Facebook or Meta tomorrow after close, and QCOM as well, Qualcomm. So those are the two I'm watching tomorrow. But if you've made it this far, remember to drop a like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.